My name is Harlan Olson. My road name is Whitebirch. It's my distinct honor to have been appointed the Central Route Coordinator for the 30th Run for the Wall mission in May of 2018. I'm a proud veteran of the United States Army Security Agency, a year of which was served in Vietnam. I have been riding with Run for the Wall for 11 years. 2007 was my first year riding in the pack. I began 2008 as a pack rider, but received a battlefield commission to continue as assistant platoon leader. In 2009, I was asked to be a platoon leader. In the following years, I served on the staging team and as a platoon leader. This past year was my honor to serve as assistant route coordinator on the Central Route. Preparing for the 2017 run was a privilege under the tutoring of Dick McKay, of which I am grateful for his guidance and support. I realize I have big shoes to fill, following in the footsteps of Dick, Dave Clemmy, Don Burns, and Ken Ward. Run for the Wall is an annual 10-day cross-country motorcycle event that begins in the Los Angeles, California area and ends at the Vietnam Wall in Washington, D.C. After Friday on Memorial Day weekend, and time for our riders to participate in many of the events that take place over the 3-day weekend. Run for the Wall has 3 routes, Central, Midway, and Southern, each taking a different route to Washington, D.C. Even though divided, we still consider the run to be 3 routes, 1 mission. Our mission is very simple. First, to promote healing among all veterans and their families and friends. Secondly, to call for an accounting of all prisoners of war and those still counted as missing in action. And thirdly, to honor the memory of those killed in action from all wars. And 4, to support our military personnel all over the world. On this 10-day journey across the heartland of America, we try to maintain an atmosphere in which all participants can reflect and heal in the hope that they can return home to a new beginning. We also want to educate future generations about the importance of accountability in wartime actions, emphasizing that no one should ever be left behind. Who should make this run, you ask? Run for the Wall started 30 years ago as a motorcycle event that continues in that tradition. Veterans from all conflicts are welcome. To borrow a phrase from Roger Mead, also known as Cowboy, all veterans need a welcome home and a place to reflect. Until they have a wall of their own, it's only right that we share ours. Run for the Wall is not only for veterans, but open to non-veterans and supporters as well. Now, as you can imagine, it takes a lot of work and many dedicated volunteers to make Run for the Wall happen each year. The planning for the next year begins with the Board of Directors, a few weeks after the run reaches Washington, D.C. on Memorial Day weekend. The board is made up of members who manage risk, public relations, operating procedures, training, and finances. One important part of finance management is the sale of Run for the Wall merchandise, which is done online and with 3 merchandise trailers that travel with each route. There are hundreds of volunteers who give of their time and talents to make the journey across the USA safe and memorable. The first volunteers to become involved, and probably the most important, are the state coordinators, without whom Run for the Wall would not exist. These volunteers work year-round to make sure that everything goes smoothly as we cross their state. They work with law enforcement and highway departments to make sure that we receive escorts and to ensure that we adhere to any permit requirements. Plus, they make us aware of any road construction. They coordinate community service groups who support us with meals, paid fuel, and shower us with hospitality. They arrange favorable rates at hotels and campgrounds for each of our nightly stops. On top of that, they are involved year-round with fundraising to help Run for the Wall to be self-sufficient. After working with our state coordinators this past year, I developed a greater admiration for their work. As the pack travels, the lead element is called the Missing Man Formation, which is led by the route coordinator. It is made up of 5 motorcycles with 1 empty slot in the middle, which represents a fallen soldier. Riding beside that open slot is the rider who is escorting that missing soldier. If you would like the opportunity to ride for someone in a Missing Man Formation, I encourage you to contact our Missing Man Coordinator, Tom Pogue. Let me take a moment to tell you of other volunteers who make the Run for the Wall possible. First, your platoon leaders, who will be wearing the orange hats. They have been selected for their leadership skills and their group formation riding abilities. They will help you adjust to our style of riding. It is their job to keep the platoon organized and informed. In addition, each rider is expected to attend daily mandatory meetings. The next group in blue hats is our staging crew. Each stager is assigned to a specific platoon, so you'll get to know them on a first-name basis. They will be there to meet you at the staging area every morning and every fuel stop and at each lunch stop. Their job is to get you staged in your assigned platoon. Then there's the fuel crew in the lime-colored hats. They can gash up 400 motorcycles in less than 25 minutes and have you off to the staging area. The speed and the precision can be likened to a NASCAR pit crew. Until you see this in operation, it's hard to imagine. Have your money ready. The fuel crew does not take credit cards or make change, so you should be ready with a supply of 1s, 5s, and 10s. If your bill is $7 and all you have is a 10, you just donated $3 to the chase trucks. Next are the road guards in the red hats. They are essential to our safety. They ride independently of the pack, working to ensure our safe travel and make sure that we take the proper exits. They are in charge whenever the pack is in motion. For that reason, we insist that all riders obey road guard direction without question. Sometimes you may not understand what they want you to do, but trust and give them your full cooperation. Our ambassadors ride ahead of the pack and meet with people who are on the overpasses and beside the roadway to greet us. Many people have waited for over an hour to support our mission. The ambassadors express our gratitude for their support. We also have a chaplain corps to help with any spiritual or emotional need. Do not hesitate to talk to these chaplains, for they'll give you as much time as you need. The registration team handles registration and gets you assigned to the platoon. They work long hours and deserve our appreciation. The hydration team provides water and sports drinks and snacks at every stop. You will learn to appreciate these folks as we make our way across country. We have several chase trucks that will pick you up in the event that you have a problem with your bike or become ill. They will transport you ahead to the nearest dealer. And now come to the last group of volunteers, the folks along the way in the communities we visit who give so much of their time and themselves. If you thought the spirit of America was dead, you will have your faith restored. Some of these communities plan all year long to provide for our lunch and to feed us. Many of these communities have less people than we have bikes. They love America and those who have served. What can you expect from Run for the Wall? When we depart the Los Angeles, California area, we set out on a journey across the heartland of America. We overnight in Williams, Arizona, then on to Gallup, New Mexico, where we are welcomed by the Navajo Nation. Then a night in a small village in Eagle Nest, New Mexico, a town of only 250 people. But what they lack in population, they more than make up for in hospitality. Goodland and Junction City, Kansas, where the streets are lined with flags. Corydon, Indiana, that hosts a fish fry you won't believe. Hurricane and Lewisburg, West Virginia, and finally into Arlington, Virginia. Along the way, we'll visit VA hospitals and spend time with our brothers and sisters and the dedicated people who care for them. We'll visit schools and talk to the kids. We'll visit memorials, including the very first Vietnam Memorial in Wentzville, Missouri. Across the country, you will see people standing on overpasses and beside the road waving flags in support of the run. You will learn about Rennell, a small coal mining community in the hills of West Virginia. Rennell and Run for the Wall have had a relationship going back to the very first run. It's a long story that will touch your heart. Now, Run for the Wall is not your average Sunday afternoon hog ride. In 10 days, we covered nearly 3,000 miles. I know of no other group in the world that moves that many motorcycles that far and in that short a time. For that reason, Run for the Wall has developed its own style of riding. You may have ridden in a group, but this is group formation riding. At first it might be unnerving, but if you do what your platoon leaders and road guards ask, you will learn to adjust and grow to like this style of riding. It's kind of like learning close order drill in basic training. The Central route was the original route, and we rode side by side for many years. A few years ago, after listening to the feedback from riders, the board of directors decided to add 2 staggered platoons. Most of the folks in these platoons are new to the run, and after a few days, many riders will request to move to a side-by-side platoon. Also, because of the large number of riders, we ride much tighter than what you might be used to. We keep it tight for several reasons. First, safety. If we maintain a tight formation, people in cars and trucks won't be tempted to force their way through our formation. Secondly, if we stay tight, a 2.5-mile footprint of motorcycles doesn't turn into a 5-mile footprint. Our riding style is different, but after 29 years, we have learned that it works best for us. Run for the Wall will be the most challenging ride you will ever undertaken. It will require your complete concentration and focus for 10 days. We joke that if you arrive at the next stop and can remember any scenery other than the taillights in front of you, you're doing something wrong. That illustrates the degree of focus and concentration required for Run for the Wall. If you choose to accept the challenges and join us, I promise it will be an experience you will never forget. Now would be a good time to talk about the preparation required to participate in this ride. You should start planning several months in advance. I encourage you to enroll in a motorcycle rider safety class. Personally, I take a class once a year. There are several to choose from. For example, Ride Like a Pro, there's Abate, and there's Motorcycle Safety Foundation. Your bike should also be in top condition, perhaps new tires, safety checks, and service. If you go all the way, you will cover at least 6,500 miles. All the components of your bike from the front wheel to the rear wheel should be checked. If you do have a problem, most dealers across the country will give you priority when they learn you are part of Run for the Wall. More importantly, you should be in good shape. This is a long and grueling journey, with some days covering over 400 miles. Temperatures can vary from 115 degrees in the desert to 30 degrees in the mountains. We will go from sea level to 8,500 feet in New Mexico. During our journey, you can expect just about any kind of weather: sun, rain, sleet, hail, and of course high winds when we go through Kansas. All of these factors can take a toll on a rider, and after a few days, fatigue will become a factor. So with this in mind, it should be prudent to get a checkup with your doctor. Also plan to have a full supply of any medications you take. Now would be a great time to begin an exercise program, even if it's only walking for an hour or so a day. The better shape you are in when you join us, the better the experience you will have. Many of the issues riders are confronted with can be traced to dehydration. Begin to hydrate at least a month before the run. Coffee, tea, and other caffeinated beverages cause the body to lose water. On the run itself, take advantage of the hydration team that has a full supply of water and sports drinks. If you don't need the restroom at the end of each leg, you aren't drinking enough water. So, finally we get to Washington, D.C., but we're not done yet. There are activities throughout the weekend. Friday night, there is an evening parade at the Marine Barracks. Saturday morning, we have a ride for FNGs only into Arlington National Cemetery. We will lay a wreath at the tomb of the unknown soldier. Run for the Wall is the only group in the country that is allowed to ride our motorcycles into the cemetery. We must respect that. We enter as a group and we leave as a group. No one is allowed to go off on their own. The noise of our pipes must be kept to an absolute minimum, and our riders must display the utmost respect. After leaving Arlington National Cemetery, we will cross the river to the steps of the Lincoln Memorial, where all three routes gather for a group photo. Then we will proceed to the Veterans Memorial and present our mission completed plaque at the apex of the wall. Only then will our mission be complete for another year. Sunday, there is a parade sponsored by Rolling Thunder, to which they invite Run for the Wall. Every year, Rolling Thunder attracts over 500,000 motorcycle riders to the Pentagon parking lot for the parade through Washington, D.C. Rolling Thunder was first started to raise awareness and a call for accounting of all our brothers and sisters who were killed in action but never returned, and for those still classified as missing. Those wishing to ride in Rolling Thunder will be led to the Pentagon parking lot, where riders will stage for the event. Others may want to go directly into Washington, D.C. and watch from the sidewalks. I invite you to join us on our journey across this great land and to experience the longest welcome home parade. Many of you never received a welcome home, but that will change when you join Run for the Wall on May 16, 2018. I hope to see you on the Central Route, but whichever route you choose, Run for the Wall will be the most memorable and rewarding experience of your life. Thank you for listening. God bless you, and God bless America. We're ready to go.
Okay,
Yeah,
ready?
yep, yep. We're ready to go.
3, 2, 1. Okay, no, you can't do Junction, Kansas. It's got to be Junction City.
Junction City, yeah.
Oh, did I say that?
He's a fish.
Fish. Got the fish, yeah. Okay, I'm all wet, ready to go.
Okay.
Fish
fry.
Fish fry.
Okay. And 3, 2, 1.